Alright, it's time for my instant reaction video for the new 007 film, No Time to Die. So this time it's a little less instant. Basically, Dan and I did not carpool this time, and so we had a brief cigarette-long chat about the movie afterward, which maybe isn't great, because the more I think about this movie, the less I like it, to be honest. Like, most of it was pretty good. Um, Obviously, the acting and stuff. I mean, I really like Daniel Craig. I really like Rami Malek. I like most of the actors in that movie, actually. But, so I guess, I can't really do too much of this review without, spoilers. So, that's your warning. I'm gonna be spoilery as fuck after this. So, basically, um, I had heard that this was Daniel Craig's last Bond film. Cool, fine. But I'd also heard murmurings that, they're trying to do a female Bond, as some people put it, which, you know, James Bond shouldn't be a female. I am perfectly okay with a female 007, which is clearly what they're doing. They're not going to take a female and be like, this is James Bond. It's a female 007, which is perfectly reasonable, makes sense in universe. I'm cool with that. And in this movie, we got introduced to the new 007, who was female, and, basically upon seeing that, either the people who made this movie are incredibly cheeky, or that's what we're getting, which, again, premise-wise, I am fine with. I just, the actress who was playing the new 007, I did not look up who it was. I'm not familiar with her, but she just seemed to lack charisma. And that could just be her role in this movie. Maybe she's great. If she ends up being the star of the next 007 movie, I'm certainly going to see it, and maybe it'll give her a chance to shine and she'll be great, but I cannot say that I'm excited after having seen this one. I know Dan was not a fan of the way the movie ended. Daniel Craig getting his, trip out into the sunset. No, he did not. He did not ride off into the sunset. He did stare at it, kind of, as he got blowed up, but so Dan doesn't like that he died. I think I'm fine with it, but a lot of it just seemed kind of contrived, and I don't know. I mean, I shed a tear, so if it hit me emotionally, it did something right. So at least there's that. And it probably would have been worse had I rewatched like the Bond films leading up to this one beforehand. But I didn't really have the time to do that, so I had a bit of a disconnect from it because it had been a while, and even still, it got me, but it wasn't really even about him dying. Like, Daniel Craig, I love as an actor. He's definitely not my favorite Bond, so hearing that he's done is not the end of the world for me, but just, the whole family aspect and nobody ever getting to be happy ever kind of hit hard, honestly, it's just a really pessimistic movie, which has its place. I'm not gonna be like, oh, a movie's bad because it's pessimistic, but like, I'm sad, and I don't know. I'm assuming that Daniel Craig didn't have much creative say in how they end his James Bond run. But maybe he wanted to go out in kind of a blaze of glory like this. Maybe he wanted his James Bond to get to be happy. I was a bit worried as I was watching the end of the movie that they were going to Dark Knight Rises that shit, and that it was going to be like, oh my god, he died. Just kidding. They didn't do that, so that works for me. I was okay with him living. I was okay with him dying. I'm not so much okay with him dying and then living out his life happily. Just because, I mean, part of it's because The Dark Knight Rises already did exactly that, so it would have felt kind of meh. But also for other reasons, I hated that The Dark Knight Rises did that. This video is not about that. But yeah, God, I don't know. It also just didn't feel a lot like a Bond film for me. I've never been a crazy big fan of the Bond franchise, but I think what happened with this movie was it got too ingrained in like the overall story of this James Bond that it became more of a, I mean, it had good narrative for like the story they were achieving, and it was a solid action film, but it just didn't have room for a lot of the real like Bond stuff, like it felt pretty Bondy for like the first, half an hour, 45 minutes maybe of the movie. I'm really bad at scaling how long I've been watching a movie, especially when it's like almost 3 hours long. But yeah, like at least the second 2/3 or the last 2/3 of the movie just felt like generic action movie, rather than 007. Like, he didn't have chances to be suave and too cool, it was just, it was like the movie, it was Taken. It was the plot of Taken. Like, I gotta save my wife and daughter. Boom, action stuff. Also, maybe I'm the issue here, but I'm kind of remiss that I was more upset about Felix dying than James Bond. But this thing is way longer than I normally make them, so I think I'm gonna call it. Would I recommend the movie? It's 007. If you were gonna see it, you're gonna see it, and if you weren't, you probably aren't. Like, I feel like you've already made up your mind, but I don't think I'd recommend it overall.